Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. What are we talking? Oh, today we're talking about what if Dr. Mary were still drinking during COVID, during these last 5 months. So, you tell me, what do you think it might have been like?
Oh, I don't know. It's just you try to think. Well, it might not be that bad, but I think, in all honesty, it would have just been. I think I may have stuck to the same thing of what I actually realised I was doing was having a drink first thing in the morning, then not drinking, showering, going to work. Because I was at work, I wasn't drinking. Then coming home, I get home about 5:30 or 6, and then I'll have a drink before dinner and a few after dinner. But I don't know, I think sitting in the basement, I think my drinking may have gotten worse because they would be, well, I'm not at work, so maybe I could have a drink.
Yeah.
And I think that would have really may have, I don't want to say pushed me over the edge, but you know what I mean, would have really made it a lot...
Exacerbated it.
Thank you, good word. Exacerbated it. And not just my drinking, but how I reacted to you, because I would have just been even more lethargic, and I probably would have been... I mean, I was depressed. There aren't many people that say, I was a really happy drunk. You're not. You're a very happy, smiling alcoholic enjoying sobriety. I was a miserable drunk.
Yeah.
And I was incredibly unhappy, but I didn't know how to change. And I don't know if I was afraid of changing or if I just resigned myself to the fact that was going to be my lot in life. But I think it would have been terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just me. I can't imagine. I mean, I would never have knowingly wanted to hurt you in any way. I mean, we talked about that on Friday and this Monday, but I would have done.
Well, not physically.
No, but you know what I mean. It would have just been terrible for the two of us.
Yeah, it would have, because you weren't at... I mean, in these 5 months, you haven't been at work until 5:30. You've been at work for about an hour a day to feed your fish and water your plants. I have said over and over and over again how grateful I am that we did not go through this period of social isolation while you were drinking, because there would have been nothing to break up the day.
No.
So you would have...
It would have just been continuous.
Been drinking at 7 a.m. and then passing out and then waking up and drinking more and passing out and showering and going to feed your fish and...
Judging by how I react, how I was doing at work, I would have kept myself sober to do any Zoom calls or anything with class. But then, it would have just been, it would not have been pleasant. And one thing I haven't been able to shake, and we talked about this in my AA meetings more than once, is what if, as well as, say, hair salons and everything, they shut down liquor stores. What the amount of panic that would have gone through someone still drinking.
Yeah.
And not every alcoholic is abusive or violent, but my God, think about going through withdrawal in a house, being the partner of someone who's going through the withdrawal of addiction.
That I will tell you, and I've referenced this before, it's the only time you were ever violent with me was when you were going through that withdrawal period, because you had no idea who you were. You had no idea who I was. You assigned a terrible character to me and attacked me. No, I provoked you. I put a hand in your face, and you grabbed my hand, and that's how that happened. But that could be a topic down the road. But I have an old acquaintance who has reached out to me because of some of this writing and these conversations. And this acquaintance is married to an addict, and I checked in with the acquaintance the other day, and this person told me that it has been extremely difficult because the spouse is home all the time and drinking and depressed. And I want to say to anybody who's living with an addict, I'm sorry that you're going through this, because it was hard when life was normal. I can't fathom what it's like now. But also, I guess try to hold on. This period has to come to an end at some point. If you are physically safe, and your children are safe, and the people that need to be protected are safe, hold on if you can. And boy, I could not have taken this advice, so I don't say it lightly. But if you cannot badger the addict, I think you will fare better. It won't be pleasant, but if we did best when I just kind of let you live in the basement and I lived upstairs, and we engaged kind of when you wanted to engage. Where things really fell apart for us is when I sort of set my mind that I was going to snap him out of this. So I would go downstairs and I would, give him kind of a you listen to me kind of conversation that you can imagine how well those went.
Yeah, it's I mean, I'm not suffering from depression is completely different, but you get into that same different mindset. You are fed up. I won't go as far to say as you're depressed, actually, because I just realised that I know people who do suffer from depression, and that is different. But it's hard to motivate yourself, and it's hard to think, well, just leave me. I'm fed up. Leave me. I don't want to do that. You lose interest in everything. So I just think it just truly would be terrible all around. I'm just glad we didn't have to do that, and I just if you are in a position where you're thinking, oh, I need help, it's think about your time, think about what you're doing. Think about, if you can't think about yourself, think about what you're doing to other people around you. I mean, at some point, I think I have a memory of wanting to do something about this before I ended up in the hospital, but I don't remember what it was or what I thought I would try and do, but clearly it didn't work.
We're going to talk either later this week or next week about sort of what the perception of each of us was going through this, because of course my reality was very different than Maz's reality, and what we thought was real was very different than what was real. But that's another talk. So I guess there isn't a takeaway today in the sense of, well, if you do this, then this will happen. But I really do encourage you, if you are living with an addict, I think the best approach you can take as this kind of all continues on, this uncertainty, is to try to leave them alone as much as possible, because I promise you, all of the tactics to get them to realize they have a problem so that you can help them get fixed, I just don't believe that works. Because, boy, I'm pretty damn persuasive, and I didn't get anywhere.
I know we've mentioned this, but, it all starts with you realising you have a problem. Just one thing I wanted to add quick. If for some reason, if somehow a group of people get to watch this and they're actually in a rehab centre, I can imagine being in a rehab centre during a pandemic like this, and even though lockdowns were eased, but now they may, in some places, they're being reopened again, so you might lose visiting hours. Take it as an AA meeting. You have this weird chance now that if you actually sit down and talk to each other, it might help. if you don't have visiting hours, talk to each other. I mean, I spent weeks in a rehab centre. There were some people that you actually talk to. There were some people you look at going, that dude is mad. And then you sit there going, well, I'm in here too, so maybe we're not much different. You could get this to work. I wouldn't say almost in your favour, but you know what I mean. You could actually just think, well, we're here. Let's talk about what's wrong with us together. That might help.
Isolation is, I think, the, oh gosh, what's the phrase? Isolation is the, well, this isn't it, but is the root of what leads to, I think, lots of other problems. The minute you think you don't have anyone to talk to, no one will understand you, everyone will judge you, that you have nowhere to turn, that you are experiencing something completely singular, the more internal you turn, the more you drink, the more that is brought about. It's just a horrific cycle, and everybody around you is brought into it in varying ways and at various times, and they're their own spinning cycle. And so then you've got these kind of competing tornadoes trying to exist in the same space, both believing they're working towards a positive response. But guess what? There's nothing positive about a tornado. It picks up everything in its path and leaves nothing but destruction. So again, just try to let this addict alone. I think it's in everybody's best interest, as impossible as that sounds. I know I couldn't have followed that advice, but it's my best, strongest advice to you.
And a piece of advice I couldn't have followed at the time too is, it took me a long time to actually admit this, but talking to someone, you might think I'd rather, set fire to my feet or something, but it helps. Starting a conversation about it, tell someone how you feel. If they're still willing to listen and it's not too late, then that's a great start. To coin a phrase, and when you're recovering from an addiction, there's lots of these little phrases that you learn, like it is one day at a time. It is every little helps. One kind thought can change the world, I think. But it's true. It really is a disease of the mind more than anything, and you've kind of lost yours, and you have to try and get it back.
So, just to tack on to that, because I'm trying to think about if I had been watching this 4 years ago, if Maz had come to me and said, Dee Dee, I have a problem. There's something going on here. I need help. I'm really, really ashamed to admit I would have probably judged him first, and then I would have gotten on the, see, I told you there was something wrong with you path, and that would have only pushed him further. So if somebody comes to you and lends their vulnerability to you, boy, you're in a tough position because you're living with it too. I'm trying not to judge myself too harshly.
Well, you shouldn't.
But try, if you can, not to judge them and not to get on the, see, I told you it was you. You'll have plenty of time to have those conversations later.
Yeah, when
that moment is not the time to do it.
When the other person involved is willing to listen to their own self, they'll say, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
You're starting this off, there are some scary times ahead of you, but they are worth it.
Yeah. We're going to go.
Don't let a pandemic slow you down.
Yeah. Have a great day.
Have a good day. See you tomorrow.